Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995, Studio A. And now onto the show.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be back. Okay, this is strange. This is my painting, and that's my painting. It's coming through like a lot of artwork here. Okay, well, happy to be here, and we've got a lovely show being arranged right now. We've got some nice people in the audience here. I know I have a lot of questions, and thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you listening to me every week. It means a lot to me. I sound a little hoarse. There is nothing wrong with me. I think it's something to do with spirit.
We haven't seen you in so long, Sally.
I know.
We've missed you. Clearly, the spirits have missed you because you came in with messages.
I did.
Like,
I did.
Boom.
Mm-hmm. Do you want? Let's maybe say
what.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think she wants to. So if you want to do the introduction of what happened, and then I'll go from there.
We can do that. So today I have to go to a funeral. One of my husband's aunts passed away. She was 90. She's going to be 91, I think, this week. And she passed away last week. So today is a funeral and the Shiva and the celebration of life. And I was telling you about this before your show.
Right.
And you started telling me about all her friends. And yes, I know one of the names you gave me is her very good friend.
Yeah,
the other lady I'm probably going to meet today.
I think so. I don't always remember, even when I gave the names, but I know I said Wendy. And you told me right away that was her best friend.
Yeah, it was her
closest friend.
Yeah, I know I'm going to see her today.
So she's here, Dawn, definitely. She's very aware of what's going on right now. And it was her time. She hadn't been well, as you had told me. So I think she's happy that she's on our show here.
Now, you always tell me there's a resting period from the time they pass until they come to you. But apparently, this case, she's like, here I am.
Well, they're supposed to be, and she's telling me a resting period. There is no time on the other side. But when they actually go to the other side and they transition, there's a period of time, which a lot of people have mentioned that. If you listen to psychics too, they will get messages and say that they're kind of adjusting to their surroundings. They do a life review. But this lady, and I'm getting my goosebumps all over me, is going, I haven't had time to rest. She's actually saying these words because we've had a couple of names of her friends, and they say also you're greeted there. So she's being greeted by a lot of people, Dawn.
She had a few husbands. I'm sure she's being greeted by.
Yeah, I actually was going to ask you that. Yes, she has. And, you know, they often wonder here, and when we're in physicality, especially if you've had 2 or 3 husbands, which one's going to greet you first? And I think she had said that. But it's different there.
So she told you that?
Well, I've heard that from people my stepmother actually, because she had been married to my father for 18 years, and she said, will he be the first to greet me? This is while she was still here, and she'd had 2 other husbands, so I don't know how that works. They just show up. I guess, you know, we're different when we're in spirit. I mean, whether it was your husband or whomever it is, a friend, it's just joy, you know, it's a lot of love going on. In fact, when I gave the name of her closest friend, I felt compelled that I had to come over and give you a hug. So I think that was coming from her.
Which was lovely. Mm-hmm. And her friend's husband, he passed away. So I'm sure she's being greeted by a lot of people.
She is, absolutely, yeah.
So they're celebrating her life today in a large way.
Yeah.
And her grandson just got married on Saturday. So it's been a roller coaster of emotions, I'm sure, for the family.
But she's comfortable. She wants everybody to know that. She's feeling very comfortable. And I feel very apprehensive even talking to her because she's meant to be resting. Seriously. You have this resting period, but she's fine. She's fine. She was ready to go. I believe she was in hospice too, so it wasn't a shock to her system.
Yeah, she was. Imagine me walking into the celebration of life saying, don't worry, everyone, she's good. She came to Sally on our show today that we took care of it, and they're kind to look at me.
But Dawn, I got the name, and
Yes,
very
you
often
did.
I'll always get a name, so that validates. I'll always get a name of someone very specific that was close to them, so that's what happened. So I got the name. I mean, I'm as shocked sometimes. I'm going, oh my gosh, you know, I'm here, but I do hear and I do feel, so I do feel her presence.
Well, I guess I'll ask, does she have any messages for her family that I'm going to see?
That she's just be careful when you talk to them now, because they may or may not, you know, understand this.
Freddie's face.
She's actually laughing. Please be careful, Dawn. That's a message that I'm definitely hearing. Don't say she just said to me that she's comfortable. But yes, she's comfortable, and it's best to leave that part out, I think.
Well, we'll respect it. 'Cause
Right.
nobody knows what I do, so we'll leave that side alone.
I mean, but this was for you, so that you
Oh,
know.
thank you. I'm glad
Yeah.
she's resting and
anybody that
she's at
might
peace.
want to hear, you can tell them, but just don't suddenly broadcast it.
we'll keep it.
And I got a question. Are there people that pass on, that die and are not resting, are not content? Are
Well,
not,
actually, that can happen sometimes. She's okay, but it's not that they, you know, you hear people say, let's go to the light, and they go to a light, but very often you have actually earthbound. They're still here. And one of the reasons for that, which I'm hearing too, and I had heard that, is that when people are really mourning someone and they're so upset, they actually stay around to see whether they're going to, you know, to help them or try to contact them. And they don't go to where they should be for a little while. There is no time, but they kind of get stuck here. I mean, I've heard that, people have said that, but I hear that being reinforced right now. They're telling you that. That's not her case. She has gone to what we would call the light.
People getting stuck. Right? I guess you hear all the time.
Well, that's
Family
what
members
ghosts are, actually.
that they're
Ghosts are
stuck.
earthbound. We can see, you know, people do see ghosts. If you go to certain, like, burial grounds or, well, places where a lot of people may have died very suddenly or passed, transition, I don't even like to use the word died, a transition, and they're not even sure they've gone. So they stick around. They really think they're still here. Does this, I mean, I can't tell you how often it happens. I don't know, but it has been known that this is, you know, I'm not the only one saying this. That does happen. But the majority of people cross over and then they go from there. There is no time, so.
It's interesting. Well, thank you for the messages. It's good to be back, though. So many messages when I was away. I
Yes,
was sending
yeah,
Sally
yeah.
pictures. I'd see a white feather on the way to
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge. I send her a picture. I send her a picture of outside.
That was really significant because my guide, my very first guide that ever, other than who Aldo introduced me to, was white feather. And from there onwards, I kept finding white feathers. And then, what was that?
I did. I got out of the Uber. I looked down across from Moulin
Naturally,
Rouge,
isn't it?
and I was texting you, and I thought this message is absolutely for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was all this is validation, even to the name that I got. You know, it just shows, you know, you can say to yourself, well, it's all coincidental. Only up to a point can this be coincidental. It's synchronicity. And the more that we lift our vibrations higher, the more we actually see, because they're able to contact us more easily. So we see these little things. To me, it is a white feather. So we find white feathers. I have a daisy, which my daughter has been sending.
Oh,
I
I've got
believe.
another picture for you of that
Oh,
at the
okay,
wedding.
that-
It was a field
Of
because
daisies.
it was at a chateau. So the gardens were magnificent. And in this field were all the little tiny daisies.
Oh.
And I took some pictures for you.
And then when we were actually, I think it was on our last cruise, when we went on one of the tours, there was a daisy and a white feather at the same, together. So it's, for me, that's validation. It may not mean anything to somebody else, and they'll have something else. So they do these little signs, they send us things. It's just validation that they're here with us.
And you
I
have a
got
question?
I got a question. It's interesting that you're talking about fields, and I just saw a vision of you going to Europe. You go to France, and you see these visions. These visions are messages from the past to the present that lead to the future.
It depends. I mean, yes, because you can get a premonition which comes in a vision. So I've had a couple of validations where I've seen something in a dream or even in my mind, and then it'll become absolutely, it happened. So they just, there is no time. So they can blend together. The future can blend in, the past can blend in. So if the past is something that we've seen and it's going to pertain to what we're going to see in the future, you'll get that vision. Whereas you can have something from the other way around, from the future coming into you now, actually.
But if she had not gone there, would she still have gotten the messages?
Well, it depends. We've actually had messages about France and about Paris. So you didn't know necessarily when we had these messages, when we mentioned the Moulin Rouge, that you were going to be going maybe in a year or so. So yes, it comes to your mind. It's up to us if we follow that through, basically, actually. So to me, I'm very touched by the Moulin Rouge, because it was obviously a past life of mine, as was yours, Dawn, as was yours, Freddie, actually, I do believe. So we can go into that.
Well, currently she's going, you want to tell her about how you currently are going through all these different visions and seeing things and...
Well, it's interesting because our hotel in Paris was decorated like everything I grew up in my house, which wasn't my taste. It was obviously my mother's taste. So there is no doubt that my mother had to have been, whether it was with me in a past life or in France, everything was red and black and fleur-de-lis and beautiful antiques. I mean, the walls. It was the house I grew up in, which was just crazy because I didn't pick it knowing that. And I walk in and...
So you can see that. In fact, one of my very first paintings that I drew when I was like doing sketches was the fleur-de-lis. And the fact you just brought that up, that was meant to come up because I didn't even know what I was sketching. And Alda said, you're drawing the fleur-de-lis. And I'm doing it all over the place. So yes, you see the connection here. But the fact that you went, it's not coincidental, actually, it was planned. You may just not have known it 2 years ago that you were going to go to Paris or going to France. But we can have that premonition and say, oh, well, maybe, because our life, I mean, we have free will, so it doesn't always go with what we're planning because we have that free will, what we planned out before we get here. But when you do, or you can see a sequence of things, so I'm going to say that you already had these visions before you actually knew that you were going. The fact that you went validated your visions, if
I
that
had
makes sense.
some before I went, and as I was in the coffee shops and seeing things, it went right back to some of the visions and dreams that I had had.
Right.
I get lost everywhere, but I didn't get lost there. And even Chuck said, how do you know where you're going? How do these streets make sense to you? And it just did.
Because you were definitely there, Dawn, and I truly, from all that I feel and know, that we were there at the same time. We were together there, because I've always had this, feeling and this closeness with Paris, actually. I mean, we used to, because I'm from London, so we very often used to go to France, when I was younger. The south of France, yes, but I don't have the same connection as I do with Paris. And a lot of the things that are in Paris today have been there from lifetimes ago. Not everything, of course, it changes. So you would feel very much at home. You would know your way because we believe in previous lives, and we still have that memory of these pictures in our mind, just like we have things that are happening here that may have happened many years ago. It goes back, and something can trigger that. Obviously, Paris did for you, which it does for me too.
But is there a message for her for the future, is my question.
Is there a message for
I see the past. I get that.
So the message, meaning what would you
Do you
want
see me having a connection to Paris again? Or is there something
I do
coming up
feel
in the
that
future?
I feel that you will be going back to Paris. I'm not right away, but you are. And when you go back the next time, and remember I'm saying this, Dawn, because little things are going to come up and it's going to validate it more. So anytime you have a connection or a song or anything, which we have too, write it down and it'll jog your memory for the next time that you go back there. And it's not going to be immediate. It could be 10 years from now, but you will be going. As far as I see, again, free will, it's difficult to predict exactly what's going to happen because we can change the situation, but I feel that you will be going back. And you'll have much more validation this next time.
Because it's interesting, I didn't plan this trip just as a trip. We had a wedding to go to, and I said, well, then let's go. So it's almost as if all of the guides, the entities, everyone was working together to say, all right, she's coming back. Is that even a thing?
Yes,
Is that
absolutely,
possible?
100%. And the fact that you actually described it so well is actually what happened, yes. They're very aware, just like we're sitting here and you're going to this shiva. They're aware of that. So I was getting little messages for you to validate that they are around you. They are around. It's up to us we can ask questions. I say this many times on this show. Just speak to some, they're listening to you. The fact that we don't even sometimes understand it is fine because we're in a different vibrational dimension. But I know from everything that's happened to me, they are here for sure. How do I get names and places and people and things? I mean, I didn't ask for this. But it happened, and I'm very happy it does. But we can all do that. The main thing is to believe that there is something more than just sitting here and there's no one else around us.
But
When
I
you
think they
believe-
listen without even saying it, because I was thinking I really didn't want to go and miss your show. And I'm taking the train. I was even contemplating about driving to Miami so I wouldn't miss your show. When you came in and we were able to do your show, and then I just got a text or an email that my train's delayed now 30 minutes.
That's exactly.
And I hadn't said anything to anyone, but I guess your thoughts are things.
We can make things happen, literally make things happen if we think it. I used to have that many times as a child. I had no idea at that time that it was how I was able to do this. I remember one time I really didn't want to go to, I was a child and it was a friend's party. And this is just out of the blue, but it happens. I've had many other things, obviously, since then, and I didn't want to go. I really didn't want to go. And sure enough, the party was cancelled. And I'm very aware, even from that day onwards, that we can do these things. Absolutely, 100%.
Can everybody do these things?
Everybody can do it. And it happens. It's the fact that you're aware of it, it'll happen much more. Things happen and you don't think anything about it. But when you start getting all these things, you begin to open up. And the more that you open up to this vibrational energy, the more things, it's synchronicity. It is not coincidence, it's synchronicity. And they continue to happen. They're delighted because they want you to see them or hear them. We don't have to necessarily see them or feel them. They're able to do that. Our loved ones and people from other lifetimes. How was I able to draw of these things from other lifetimes? They were helping me understand a little more and draw. I didn't know I could paint. I had no idea.
It's interesting.
It is, yes.
I still am confused with the fact that if she can see, maybe it's an explanation of questions that she's had for the past. So let's say that you go into a place and then it begins to make sense to you that you were there. Does it answer the questions that you have about how things are or were and how different they are now and where we're going to be going in the future with it?
Well, yes, because it happens actually to all of us. But, you know, we find that our imagination, we think. Sometimes it's not. Our imagination is where we're going and what we're doing. So the more you open up to something like that, Freddie, everybody has that. Dawn was able to go to Paris and maybe get, I'm going to call it answers to these things, because if it's in your imagination is coming from you. So if you choose to see certain things or something, another good example of that, and we will get messages, is maybe something in another lifetime happened to us that may be reoccurring, and we can call it karma. It can be something other than karma. So we may get this is how they're explaining to me, we may get a message or a picture in our mind. And let's say in this particular case, you were seeing France, because I don't know too much of what you were seeing. And you know, you made that move to go there, which was great. And you went there, and the answer to what you were thinking in your so-called imagination would be there. It might be a painting you saw. It might be a restaurant you went, or something that was said, but it was going to take place without me knowing in Paris at that particular time. So you followed a lot of what was meant, because again, free will can change that, but you continued with that messages and you decided like quickly that you were going to go to Paris, but these France, these messages were still embedded in you, in your subconscious. So suddenly you can say, well, I saw that building. Yes, you could have seen that building from another lifetime, or you could have seen it in this lifetime, because we can travel in this lifetime too. That's another show, but we can do that. So in other words, your questions are answered, be it from what we think is imagination, be it a drawing, as I've drawn many things from previous lifetimes, which will help us in this particular lifetime. The fact that that happens is for this lifetime here.
And there was one museum that I tried to get to 3 times, and for whatever reason, I was not meant to go to this museum. And I have to be comfortable with the fact that I wanted to see what was in it, but it was not for me to be there. And I think I know why, but I won't know why unless I ever really go.
No, and that happens too, because it can happen the other way around. You may want to go somewhere, and yet you're getting this, many things can happen. It may close early. Any of these things can happen. They're helping us too. So as much as our free will is saying to ourselves, no, I want to go, they know what's ahead of us. And things happen that you're not going to go.
I was not supposed to be
You're
at
not
this
supposed to.
museum for whatever reason.
But you're aware of that, Dawn, and that's half the battle, so to
First day was
speak.
closed, second day it
There
closed
you
before
go.
I got there. Third day my train was 2 hours late, so I couldn't get back there. And everyone says, how did you miss the Museum d'Orsay? I said, I tried 3 times.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be for me
yeah.
not to be there.
It could be as simple as that you might see something there that you may not want to particularly see in this particular lifetime that happened to you in another lifetime.
I know
I'm just
that's what it
saying
is.
that, and I'm feeling that very strongly. There was something there
Yeah.
that you're not ready to see yet. Oh my gosh! So you feel that? Okay.
Well, it was at the old train station where they would take the children and the women from the Holocaust, and they transported them from this train station. And
It's incredible,
Become a
Dawn.
museum.
Yeah.
I know that's why I was not meant to be there,
Absolutely.
because I was not
I
ready to
didn't
see
know
that.
but the fact that I validated by that particular answer was complete. Absolutely. We're definitely on the same train track right now.
Yep.
We're following something. Yeah, absolutely. Because I saw that, but I didn't know the reason why. Yeah. See how it works. It's unfolding right in front of us. Even the name that before we started from, the
But I think
native
for
of
people,
us.
it's just their own validation. Imagine me going out into the public and saying, well, this is the reason why. They would think I was, and you would say cuckoo bananas.
Yeah, more and more people are becoming very acceptable of this.
The reason I'm even asking this line of question is because I think that the message that you're learning is a message to be given to others. I don't think it's a message you're learning from. I think others are going to be learning this message, and I think that you have to be able to deliver it for them to understand it, and that's the trick of this whole thing.
But there are
That's-
things and energies, there's a lot of energies, and for me, once those, I call them portals, open, like people coming in the validation of who they are, I get physically ill or tired or lightheaded when they
Right.
all come rushing in at one time. I haven't learned how to handle that amount of energy
It's
coming
very
forward.
hard, Dawn, because I get the same thing. I'm so much so now that I don't even like going in crowds because I'm getting so much of the energy. I have to be prepared for that. It's something that I know that I have to accept sometimes, but it can physically affect you, absolutely. But I think if you're aware of it, and I choose not to go to I can't help it sometimes, but I don't want to go to very crowded places anymore. I just don't want to. But if I'm aware of that, then I'm going to be aware that I might be feeling strange, because that does happen.
It's interesting.
I think Professor has something to ask.
Yes. You mentioned the feathers and the flowers earlier as signs and such. I'm wondering if that extends to animals that you see from day to day, because I personally have seen a black ibis, a juvenile ibis, every morning that I've been coming to this internship, and he's there every afternoon when I drive home again.
Wow.
And I can't help but feel like the universe is trying to send me a sign, and I'm not very good at reading that sign. Is there any advice you can give on that?
It is definitely a sign. I absolutely feel that, and you're aware of that. As for what it's a validation of some kind for you, the fact that this is showing up so much, and the fact that you're aware of it. I think you'll know shortly what it was validation for. I'm not sure yet, and even if I was, for some reason, I'm not meant to tell you. So that will make sense when you know what it is, okay?
I'll just have to wait for the
It's like
universe.
a crossroad that you're going. And if I tell you what this is, you're not going to go down that road, or you may, whatever your choice is. And I'm feeling that very strong. So yes, you're going to get the validation. You're getting it, and I'm meant to tell you that too. So whatever I'm thinking, it's best you can tell me afterwards, and you'll see that there was this crossroad. So that it doesn't make the decision for you, because the decision has to be from you, not from what I'm going to tell you.
So the pieces have to come together in time.
They will come together for you. But if I tell you this, it's pushing you down maybe a road that...
I think I understand.
You do? Okay, because only you're going to understand what I'm saying. But it's
Yes.
going to, I'm not going to say the wrong road, but it's going to sway you more down that road, and perhaps you're meant to be taking the other road, okay?
A black ibis. I don't think I've ever seen a black ibis.
Only the juveniles are black. They lose their dark coat and then they become white like all the other ibises.
But this is just validation for you. That itself is not, you'll keep seeing it. To
Yeah.
validate actually what we just validated.
I can't help but feel like something's trying to tell me something.
It is. But the decision is yours, not for me to tell you.
All right, I think they want you to take a commercial, Sally.
Oh, okay. We'll be back on the other side of this show in a few minutes.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com, or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybernard.com. Now back to the show.
Hi everybody, we're back, and we were having kind of an interesting conversation off the air. So if you want to continue, or we can talk about something else.
Well, we can continue talking about animals being spirit guides, I think.
I
All right,
would
so
like
you've
that
seen
very
an
much.
ibis. My daughter keeps seeing a deer, and now the deer keeps having babies. It comes to her every year in her classroom, and this beautiful deer in the middle of Washington, D.C. They must
Yeah.
find a field,
Yeah.
and then she brings her babies
just
back.
validation from spirit.
But why a deer? Like, what would
Because it's making her, because she's aware of it. She may see something else over and over again, and it may not mean anything, but the fact that it is a strange thing to see, she's aware of that. So yes.
And then she thinks that I guess there's a buck moon coming this summer. I think in July. So she says there's this buck moon, I think is a deer moon coming in July. And then she says the name of my street is like Deer Moon. She said, did
Okay.
you ever think about the name of the address is this and
Lisa
moon?
repeats, it's strange because this happens
This is a
lot.
pattern for her.
I have water because every time I go and live somewhere, I'm on Waterbury, I was on Water Street, my mother lived in the Water Gardens, and I sometimes feel little drops of water, so I'm very aware of water. We all have something, I think. It's being aware of it. Freddie, I know that you want to ask me something. I feel it.
No, I'm just wondering because there are paths of birds and paths of different animals that come in and out of your life. And I'm just wondering, they usually show up when you're trying to figure something out.
Yes, because they're trying to show you they're around. I'm not going to say it could be the person's spirit because we can materialize into something. For the longest time, I loved my dog, and when she passed away, by her bowl, And I always used, you know, the little salamanders that we see, I would always see that. I took the bowl away because I was upset. I didn't want to be reminded that my dog had passed away. I kept seeing a little salamander there. And then I'd put it, 2 days would go by. It was like the salamander was staying around her bowl. And then I went into the room because she used to sleep in Aldo's room. And I go in there and I pick up a light for some reason. I was dusting and there was a little salamander in there too. So they come. Whether I don't know how that works exactly, but if they choose an animal and they'll keep showing it, maybe there's spirit in that animal. That I don't know. I don't know.
I guess different things come to people differently. Like for you,
Yes,
it's a bird.
it can be any animal, a bird, or whatever it is. But when you become aware of it, you see it more because you're aware of it.
So while you were away, there were these real strange dreams that I was having, and they were making fun. Because one of them, I had Mona Lisa giving birth to G-Man. But besides that one,
Yeah, I remember that
they're
one. It was
laughing.
just- yeah.
But besides that one, I had this one. And I don't know what this meant at the time that I had it. I don't know where the number 41 came from. I was just told to tell the masses about 41. And if you look it up, it has many, many meanings, biblical, spiritual, different things. It's the dawn of a new day, which was really funny when I read that, because if you look up there, that's somebody's name, in the dawn of a new day. And the world was underwater for 40 days and 40 nights. And on the 41st day, life started again.
Okay.
So I was told to tell people about the number, but I wasn't told what the number signified. I wasn't told what it meant. She was away in France when all this happened. And I came in the next day and I created the 41 Club for those that were in here. Some of them, they weren't there, they don't understand what I'm talking about. But I want to know, at my time of my life, why was I given, it's not like I read this number. I knew nothing about 41, ever. Why was I given the number
Because
41?
they were making you aware it's a new beginning, and it's very, very strong, this new beginning. You're going to start doing
But
things.
is it mine?
It's for you.
Or is
yeah.
it somebody else?
No, it's like I relate very much to the numbers 1111, and I used to see them, and there was a whole book on 1111, which is also validation for me because I saw that for a long time. They show us numbers. They knew that, you know, today we can go into Google and ask the spiritual, whatever that can be, and we can ask a question and we'll get the answer. They do that because it's written there in black and white. But it is a beginning for you, and the dawn here is not coincidence. That this is all synchronicity. It's, you know, I've looked at that many times, but never really looked at it, and I see that there. It's all these little things that add up to something much bigger. And this is important for actually both of you because you were in part of that too. Dawn was too. It says a new beginning. Now that could be many things. It could also be, which you are opening other places. I feel that it's opening something, a door to somewhere else that you physically are going to be some of the time, which is, again, it could just be here that things are going to change here, but it's a new beginning. And it's not you're going to change paths suddenly and do something else. It's a new beginning of what you're doing here. You're going to change it around a little bit. And as you're changing it around, that number is very relevant because that number now is the validation of what I'm saying. And it's going to, as long as you keep with it, and I think I've mentioned this before, don't listen to what other people might say. That's coming back to me again. This is your idea. It's for everybody involved. Yes, this is an idea that you're having, and this is what the new beginning is. It's a new beginning, and the people that are coming into your life right now that are going to bring this forth for you. It could even be something like that someone's going to come in and want to, I feel like they may want to put backing into this, put money into this. Whatever you need, I'm not sure. It's just, things are going to change, but they're going to change to your advantage for both of you here, actually. But don't lose faith in that. Just continue with your idea of a new beginning. I keep hearing that. Continue with your idea of a new beginning. It'll make sense.
You know what's really funny about that is when I got to the south of France for the wedding. It was Ascension Day, which is the day that Jesus went to heaven. It's 40 days after Easter. So 41 days after Easter was the day of the wedding when I saw the daisies and everything was like full circle.
Yes. It's for both of you, this message.
So that was day 40 after Easter when he went to the heavens, and I walked into this beautiful church to see it, and there's this beautiful mass. And above the, I don't know what you call it in a church, we call it a bema, but the altar was Hebrew that said Adonai in Hebrew, and then there was the priest, and it was the combining of so many religions that in America we don't do, but in France, and this church built in 1710, they had combined everything, which was so beautiful.
Oh, I'm getting very strong messages about this. This is not, although the church itself is new, you say, or comparatively,
1700s.
it's been, what they've, I believe they've copied this from something from a long, long time ago. It's not the it could be that, but you're going even further back with this. There's something very much in that message.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
That was day
not
41.
There you go. So what, if you think back to that day that you're going to see these things now, it's going to make sense. So the fact that Freddie even brought up the number 41, and I said a new beginning, it could be a new beginning of understanding what we're talking about even more. It's just a new beginning. I feel it's to do with the studio. But again, it could have other different situations, which you saw on day 41.
That's why every Monday I put the number 41 up.
Yeah, and do that, because it's a reminder, if for nothing else, it's a reminder for you that things are changing. Things are changing. And as long as we keep that high vibrational energy and we're positive, it really doesn't go wrong. It's us that make it go wrong. It's the people around us that make it go wrong. We're set on an idea, keep it in your mind and do it. It won't go wrong.
I was thinking of you, Sally, because people use such negative words that have such a bad vibration. And the one thing I learned being over there versus here is people aren't on their cell phones there like we are here. And I think that's the dumbing down of America, because everyone is scrolling. They're missing the moments. They're missing, and besides the moments, the anxiety I feel went just for scrolling and looking.
Absolutely.
They're not doing that in Europe. They're not working as many hours as we're working, but maybe it's
terrible.
better.
It's terrible. I didn't want to interrupt you, but they're coming to me saying absolutely, because not only is it just the scrolling, and kids today are doing this, they don't know how to converse. It's the low vibrational energy that other people, because they can get attached even to your phone actually, and you keep looking at it, so you don't get an opportunity to smell the roses type of thing. And I'm glad to hear that they don't do that as much in France, because we're very much, it's bad here. It's really bad. But I'm not going to say the good thing, but people are becoming aware of this today. The schools, I believe, are telling you, kids, leave your phone somewhere else or in the school somewhere. It's a big problem.
It's easier to tune in. I wonder if like the aliens brought it, I don't know. Because it's easier for me to tune into messages without the phones around, without the TV on, and without noise than it is when there's other noise and negative energy and people just
because it kind of sticks to you.
Yes.
So if you're walking into a room and there's negative energy there, and I know that, and we call it being empathic, we're an empath, but you totally can feel it. And that's why I often say, when you feel this, excuse yourself. I mean, you can't, let's say at a crowded airport or whatever, but we're energy. So think about this. If we're energy, other energy is affecting us. So let's try and raise ourselves out of that particular situation and try to go to a higher vibrational energy than what we're at. I really don't like even talking on the telephone. I'd sooner say, okay, I'm meeting you, and meet that person in person. And if Steve's listening, which he probably will be, I say that. What do I got to talk about? It's hi, hey, I'll meet you at 2:00. And maybe people find that rude, but I've always been that way. And a text too. We don't need a whole long thing.
Agreed.
So person, yes, face to face, what we're doing now is beautiful. But don't keep your head in that phone all the time. It's terrible.
I have a follow-up to that. Is there any other things that we can do or avoid to help us get more in touch with the vibrations?
Yes, by what we're meditating. I mean, many people have different ways of meditating. I probably don't do it the same way as somebody else, but just going to be with nature, hear silence. You know, when I walked in here, it was quiet, and I was used to a lot, but you know, that's good too. Silence. You don't have to have that chatter all around you. Take time out for yourself. Take time to just meditate however you want to do that. Just before you go to sleep, try and get in touch with things that we don't necessarily see here, but that we feel. You can call it a higher power, whatever you want. But there is more to life, so much more.
Thank you.
So what else do the guides have to say? I guess we'll ask my guides, Elizabeth and everybody else. I know they're always with me.
Well, they are, and they're happy that we've made contact again, because I've been out of the studio here too for a little while. But they're always happy to see us. They're happy that we're doing the show here, that you acknowledge her. She comes to you very often, far more than she does to me, Dawn. Right now, she's with you. She's with you in spirit. Elizabeth, if people that don't know, is one of your guides, who is spending quite a lot of time with you, as we call time, with you. So just talk to her, ask her.
When people pass, because there are times I'll see your daughter with somebody else's brother, and that you would never know these people. Do they find each other so they know that their messages can come through to, say, the messenger?
Because the word now, I feel, is a pod. We come down in a pod with these other people in the particular lifetime that we're at. However, not all the people from what our collective pod is definitely incarnating with us. They are here on the other side too. So they find each other, but we kind of stay together, and that can involve a lot of people. So even if we don't know someone from this particular lifetime, somebody from another lifetime is still part of that and can be guiding us. So they find each other here, or they find each other on the other side.
It's
Do
interesting.
you pick up other guides as you go along? Like if somebody dies, they become instantly a guide, or do you pick up other guys?
No, not necessarily instantly, but they could have been, if that happens, although you might not have known them from this lifetime, and this is what they're telling me, they are also part of what we're talking about, your pod. So your guides could be in that particular section. You may not have it, or you may know somebody, or you may just be going to their funeral here. But they are part of, and they will make themselves known. People do make themselves known here or on the other side. We have several guides. We don't just have one. We have several. Some people have less. Some people have more, like friends here. But they've been with us for lifetimes. One lifetime after another. Occasionally we pick up a new person. We do that. But the majority of who we have around us all the time here or on the other side are people that we've known for eons.
How do they get along? How does it work that you have, let's say, 3, 4, 7 spirits? How does that influence you?
Well, we have contracts. So if you have, say, 7 spirits coming in that are guiding you for a particular, if they're not here and they're guiding us, they all know what their function is. It's not like here, well, they'll change. They don't. We can change here our plans because of the free will. This is a free will planet, so we have free will. But they'll guide us. Say one guide is here to show me one way, personally, and another one is going to show me something else, part of that. So it's like a mutual agreement. They don't change. We can change. They don't.
Same constant message, same constant guidance?
No, it can be many different things. It can be one particular message that they see is coming up in our future here. So they'll gather together, the ones that are aware of that, and they'll follow us through if it's a problem, they'll all try and figure it out. Well, not figure it out, they know it, but help us figure it out. Does that make sense? Is there something?
No, I'm just wondering whether or not, you have a typical way of doing things for certain reasons. And they change. People do change. Sometimes you change overnight. Sometimes you like yourself more on Monday than you do on Wednesday. Does any of that have any influence coming?
Well, yes, it could do. It could, because you may have had messages in your sleep, Freddie. You may have had a dream. And that will affect you here for the next day here. So if you were, say, thinking and planning of something, and suddenly you wake up and you say, nah, you know what? You know, people say sleep on it. So they're figuring out with you, because there's a place called the astral plane where we actually do go when we're asleep. And we have a talk about maybe what was happening the day before. So you can wake up with an idea. I woke up, became an artist one night, or you can change what you thought the day before. Go with instincts, because your instincts, and we're not always right, but if your gut, your instinct is telling you to do that today, but yesterday you weren't, it's pretty sure you've had a discussion with this with your guides.
But are you doing things and thinking things that the guides look at and hear? Or is it the other way, or is it the other way around?
No, that's actually a good question, because it's a little bit of both. Before we come in, we talk about our life, what we're going to do, where we're going to go, who we're going to meet even, all these things. When you come here, you're suddenly what we call living what we've discussed. They're still there watching what we're doing. So if you change plans halfway through of what they were aware of, but they can't intervene, they can help us, and they can make something delayed and things like that, but they basically, because we have free will, we stick to a lot of the things that we've decided, but sometimes we don't. Even though they may feel that this is coming very strong for me, they may feel that that other path was for you. You'll see the other path, but your mindset might tell you to go down that one. Now, as you go down that one, they're figuring that that was the right one, because that's the one you chose. But if you go down, you may feel awkward. You may feel you're doing the wrong thing. But that's up to you.
But if how to explain? So if Aldo's sitting there, he gives me a message about you being very insecure. He's giving me the message for me to tell you.
They can do that. Yeah, they can do that. You can tell me.
Well, if you don't listen.
That's up to me. But I got the message.
But then he tells me to tell you.
Okay, did he tell you that?
See, she's a little insecure now.
Really?
How's that, Bert?
I don't know, but I'm hoping I see him on the way home.
But you've given me the message. Now, it's up to me how I want to interpret that.
Well, suppose he says to me about fear. Now, that could be a lot of different things with you. But, I mean, I just use insecurity as an
You
example.
made me very insecure, very fearful right now. Thank you, Aldo. Aldo was my...
But the funny thing is that I think that guides give you instruction for you to choose, yes?
They'll give, yes, because they know what...
They will tell you what
They
to
won't
do.
diversify from your path.
But they give you instruction, and then
They'll
it's up
help
to
you.
us.
They'll
accept
help
it?
you along the way. They'll help you. They'll give you messages that you feel like, again, let's use a car. You're driving down one street. It's not your time to have the accident. However, they may try to tell you to go but they can't, again, because...
So there'll be a cat that runs across the street.
Yes, but
and then you
it's
turn
still
around and go
up
the
to
other way.
us to interpret it the way we want to.
Acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it and interpret it, because I can say, I still want to go that way because it's nearer. But the cat's there. So I'm thinking, well, I should go down that other street. Now, nevertheless, we can't prove this, but if I went down that street, I could have a very nasty accident. I don't know. But they're trying to tell you and interpret it for you. They can't intervene. They can't.
They can tell somebody else to tell you, too.
They can, yes, they can do that. Absolutely they can, but it's still up to us, the decision that we make.
Yes.
And they will help us, too. Absolutely
Well,
help us.
yesterday they had me cleaning out a closet looking for something, which I couldn't find. I found some other things. Because about 6 weeks ago, I got a message from Nana Sophie. And Nana Sophie, who I don't know who Nana Sophie is, that Aaron's baby was a girl. And everyone was convinced it was a boy. But Nana Sophie says this is a girl. Well, sure enough, they're having a girl. No one still knows who Nana Sophie is. The aunt passes away. They're trying to find Hebrew names. Someone sends us the family tree. And whose family tree was it? Nana Sophie's. And it was Nana Sophie and her husband and their kids. So this was this lady's grandmother. Nana Sophie was.
Who is she?
She was the grandmother of the woman that passed away and my father-in-law. So it was their grandmother.
So she was family.
She was family.
Here's
You didn't
family.
know.
She didn't.
And neither did anybody else. My father-in-law is not in the States to
Somebody
know.
must know her that they sent you that.
They sent the entire family tree.
And there's Nana Sophie right there.
And at the top of the family tree is, her name was Sophie
But you were meant
Lukowicz.
to see that, Dawn.
And
You
she
know
was, it was her and her husband. So she was the grandmother of all of these descendants.
But you were meant to see that by doing what you were doing. You were cleaning out something.
And they're
right?
reading this to me, and I said, "Did you hear what you just said?" And he said, "What did I say?" I said, "Whose tree is that?" Sophie. I said, "What have I been?" And that was the validation. But then I started cleaning out a closet, and it was just so much energy and so many things that came out after that moment that I don't know why I was cleaning out the closet. I don't know what the message was, but there was something.
I feel like kind of got some idea, but again, I'm not meant to tell you right now.
No, great.
I will.
It's
but
all
I
the
can't do
things,
it
pretty
now.
much everything from the old house that we didn't know what to do with got put in this closet.
It's all good. It's okay. It's right. You were right on track by doing what you were doing, okay? But I have another message, continuation of that.
Okay.
But I'm not, I can't. I know if I'm going, someone's going like this, not
You can't
now.
say anything.
Maybe there's
Listen.
something there.
Maybe there is, but I started feeling not so good, so I kind of
Well, that was
Close
enough
the
because
closet,
you
it
had
was
to
enough
do that. It was
energy.
like you opened something and everything was flooding in.
Everything was
And
flooding
you
in.
had to stop it. When you get that, especially for people that are empaths, absolutely stop at that point. It's like something that's giving you vibrational energy, and just go, enough.
And it was a lot of the kids' stuff from their rooms from the old house that no one took. That's now in boxes in this closet in my house. So I'm thinking it's not even, but there's something in there.
There is, well, you're not, this isn't the time. It's like you're doing a puzzle and you're getting parts of the puzzle. The pieces will all fit in, and I will tell you what I'm feeling, but it isn't the time.
So I took out a couple
It's nothing
things
bad.
for each kid, and I sent them pictures. This is yours. This is yours. I closed the closet because I was not feeling great.
Yeah.
So will energy make you feel? People who are doing this and they start feeling funny, will it's an
100%.
energetic
Yeah,
feel?
it absolutely. It can make you. It can even energy can make you sad. Can make you laugh. We're energy. So once it attaches itself, the energy you're getting from someone else. So if someone is feeling, or they're constantly saying that this is wrong with them, you can be feeling fine. If they're continually doing this, you're going to get sick. But the main thing is we're very aware of this, or you're going to have a bad day. I use that as a bad day, but my day's going great. No, I'm having a bad day. Best to just walk away from that person and continue with your good day.
I'm hoping that these messages and what you share helps people that are watching.
I hope so.
Because
hope
I
so.
think people are more in touch now with different sensitivities and different messages, or trying to become, in realizing that not everything's black and white. There are messages.
And especially now, because the world is changing. There's what they call a shift going on. And that shift is that Gaia, Mother Earth, is going through this. And we're trying to raise people's vibrational energy. And that can only happen if people become just aware of this. That we need to just lift our vibrational energy, because there is so much going on in this world. So many bad things. We turn the news on, and I mean, I turned it on last night, and it just
You just
the
can't.
best. You know, we can't walk around with blinders and not know it. However, we can just turn it on for a sec. Some people do, but there might be something that we really need to know. But just turn it on and turn it off. Don't get fixated on any of these things. Just go outside for a minute and then just see what comes to you, because we all get messages coming to us.
You're both shaking your head at the same
You got
time.
another one?
Well, she kind of covered it when she was talking about the vibrations and being more sensitive to them. I was going to ask, is there any way other than the meditation to become more in tune with the vibrations and pay more attention to them? But you covered it perfectly.
Yeah, because that's up to us too. You change your thoughts. You know, if something bad is going on, change your feelings about that. Change yourself and go into another situation that's going to lift that vibrational energy. Sometimes we get these energies because we need to know something. But even if it's a negativity that's doing this, that can sometimes catapult us into a higher vibrational energy and change that negativity to positivity. Because there's a balance here. So even though we feel something is negative so much, it might be there to show us something, but we can change that. We don't want to get stuck in that, because bad things happen too. But don't get stuck in it or fixate on it. Try to change it and turn it into a positive if you can.
So pay attention, but don't become
engrossed. Yeah, because we are given messages, things that we need to, know, but that's the balance. So I hope, to close actually on that, is that people call in, or you can get me at, here I'm at the studio every Monday with questions, but it's just really, I hope I'm opening people's minds up. It's so important to walk around and understand a little of this. You don't have to get it all. It happened to me gradually. It took Aldo 18 years to explain a lot of the things now, and he still is doing that because he passed, but he's in spirit with me. And once you start to begin to understand this, your life does change. It becomes, the big things aren't as important, and the little things aren't as important. Don't stress the little things, because we're lowering our vibrational energy. And on that, I think we'll close.
Well, before you close, tell everyone about your website.
Yes, my art, it's artbysallybernard.com. And I have clothing on that now, which I've just started, and it's up there on the screen. So please go in, just take a look. I have everything from children's clothing, dresses, jogging pants, shoes. Just take a look and see, maybe you might just want to buy something. Actually, this is also a dress. So
beautiful.
I don't have it as a dress, and this is my artwork here, and the one behind me is part of it. So I'm getting a lot of very good comments from people.
The art with message.
They have messages, because that's how I actually began to paint. So, from dreams, really, we can say, art from dreams.
That's what my son was saying. He says this art has messages on it, and everybody gets one. So
that's great, and I love that he said that, because he's open enough to be able to, which I'm not surprised. I know.
it comes and goes, but
But that's okay. It's there. It's there. Even if you just open a little bit of a window, it's there. And my art does have that effect on people. Great. So I'll see you guys next week. Tune in, same time. Bye for now.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.